up? ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Thursday, the 25th of May. Good to have you aboard. We are a Blue Wire podcast presented as always by Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys. If you've been involved in any kind of an accident, 800-747-FREE. 800-747-3733. I know my guys at Anidjar and Levine, Mark Anidjar, Glenn Levine, Ellie Anidjar, they're super pumped up about everything that's going on down here, especially the huge story last night. Your Florida Panthers, your favorite little hockey team, are headed back to the Stanley Cup Finals. The Panthers win the Eastern Conference Championship last night in an absolute thriller. So the Panthers, they did it. They pulled it off last night. We're going to devote almost the entire show today, obviously, to the Florida Panthers, who waited 27 years to get back to the Stanley Cup Final. The Panther fan has waited 27 years to be proud of this team again and to get back to the Stanley Cup Final. And now, finally, when we talk about our favorite hockey team, we don't have to continue to only reference 1996. We have 2023 as the Panthers are back in the Stanley Cup Final. They're going to play for the hardest trophy, the toughest championship to win in all of professional sports. They did it, and they did it on home ice last night, giving the Panther fan an all-time memory. That was a forever game and a forever moment. So we talked about this, right? A couple days ago, a few days ago, where we're all just, especially at my age now, okay? The Heat have won 3 championships, all right? It's not even as much with the Heat. It's not even as much about trying to win that 4th championship. It's about trying to capture that sports moment. It's about trying to get to that memorable, that forever moment, and maybe experiencing it with your family, with your children. It's about trying to catch that forever sports moment. And that's why I told you guys, if you're saving up money, you want to go to the Stanley Cup Finals. I mean, tickets are going to be outrageous. If you're saving up money, you want to go to the Stanley Cup Final. Don't do it. Go to Game 4. I told you that all day yesterday, right? Go to Game 4. Go to the game. You don't know what's lying ahead. You don't know what's going to happen in the Stanley Cup Final. You don't know if they're even going to get there. But you don't know what the future holds. But Game 4 in FLA Live Arena, the Panthers have an opportunity. The Heat blew that opportunity the night before. Okay, they got another chance tonight. The Panthers have an opportunity to give us a forever moment. Go to the game. Go to Game 4. You don't know what the future is going to hold. Be there for a potential forever moment. And they gave you the greatest moment in franchise history. Now, I'm not willing to say it's the greatest goal in franchise history because we already talked about that. For 27 years, the greatest goal in Panther history was Billy Lindsay, Game 5, first round, 1996, which is both, it's awesome because it's a great moment, but also pathetic. It's a first round goal from 27 years ago. Well, we determined Matthew Tkachuk, Game 7 in Boston, greatest goal in Panther history. That overtook Billy's goal from 27 years ago. That's still the greatest goal because it pulled off a 3-1 comeback, the greatest upset in Stanley Cup playoff history, and we don't get to where we are without it. It's like the Ray Allen shots. Okay, well, the same year the Ray Allen shot happened, LeBron James, the next game, Game 7, hit a jumper that put the Heat up by 4 with like 20 seconds remaining. It won them the championship. But the Ray Allen shot is bigger because without the Ray Allen shot, we don't even get to that moment. So the Ray Allen shot is easily the biggest goal, the biggest basket in the history of the Miami Heat. And it's similar to this where, okay, last night's goal by Matthew Tkachuk has us here, has catapulted the Panthers to the Stanley Cup Finals. But none of this is possible without Tkachuk's Game 7 goal in Boston. Matthew Tkachuk's Game 7 goal in Boston in the first round is the greatest goal in the history of the Panthers. But last night was the greatest moment in the history of the Florida Panthers. Because while none of this is possible without that goal, the way that it all set up, the way that it all went down, the guy who scored the goal, what that goal meant, 27 years, bottled up frustration and emotion was all let out at the exact same moment when Matthew Tkachuk scored that goal. And after 27 years, the Panthers are back in the Stanley Cup Finals. I gotta tell you, and I'm not like, I told you when Jimmy Butler had the 56-point game and the crowd's going crazy and we're about to win, I told you, like, I got emotional. You know, that doesn't mean I cried. I didn't cry. You know, when guys like me, when you get emotional, you take those emotions and you bottle them up and you throw them into the pit of your stomach and you never let them out again. But I got very emotional. And last night, same thing. I was very emotional after the game. And I try not to think about, oh my God, what would I be like if they won the Stanley Cup Final? I try not to, I don't want to think about that. I try not to think about that. But I was very emotional after Tkachuk scored the goal, and certainly after, excuse me, the next 4 seconds went by and they wind up winning the game. I'm so happy for all the Panther fans. I'm so happy for guys who have been in the organization forever. You know, guys like Randy Moeller, guys like Steve Goldstein, guys like Billy Lindsay. I'm so thrilled. We're going to have Billy Lindsay on the show today. I want to play something for you here. Billy's a friend of mine. I haven't spoken to him in a while, so I'm really excited to talk to him here. And it's just a great dude. And I'm so happy for him. The best thing you're going to hear today. So Billy's going to join us later on in the show today. And I guess he does studio work for NHL Network, but I'm not sure that I knew that. And so, like, sometimes he's on the radio call with Doug Plagans, who, by the way, Doug Plagans is going to join us on the show today. We're very Panther heavy today. Last night was an historic night in the history of South Florida sports. So Billy sometimes does radio analysis, does the color with Doug Plagans on the Panthers radio network. But I guess other times he's doing studio work, NHL Network. So Billy was in studio last night doing studio for NHL Network. And they go to the studio after the game. This is the best thing you're going to hear today. I tweeted out the video too. Go watch the video also. So Billy's in between the host and the other analyst. And like the rest of us who have been with this team forever, for all 29 seasons, all 30 years. You missed a year with the lockout. But all 29 seasons of Panther hockey. Last night was a really emotional night. I was 15 years old when the Panthers made the Stanley Cup Final. It's all we talk about. Oh, 96, remember 1996. You know, it's like referencing the Miami Dolphins 1972 if they didn't actually win that year. That's what 1996 is. It's all we've ever had. 27 years later, we get back to the Stanley Cup Final. Last night was a very emotional night for the Panther fan. And so you got guys who've been with the organization for, you know, almost that entire period. And one of those guys, of course, is Billy Lindsay. And Billy's in the studio. It's the best thing you're going to hear today. Or see. Go watch it. Because I don't know if the audio does it full justice. But Billy's in studio. They go right to the post-game show. And right out the gates, I mean, Billy couldn't keep it together. He was very, very caught up in the emotion.
welcome to NHL Tonight alongside Stu and Billy. I'm Jameson, and for the first time since 1996, the Florida Panthers are heading to the Stanley Cup Finals. Stu, if only we had somebody in studio tonight that knew what that felt like. Billy Lindsay, we picked the perfect time to have you in studio. What does that moment feel like?
But I'm emotional.
You should be. This is a big deal for you and all the Florida Panthers that have come before.
Oh, man.
Hey, looks good on you, buddy. Congratulations.
This is, thanks.
Congratulations.
Wow, it's home. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
It's been a long time, long journey. Man, am I proud of this team.
You want to watch the highlights?
Yeah, let's get some
Let's get right to the highlights here. Game number 4, down in Sunrise.
Sports, man. And go watch the video. I retweeted it. It's so good. I'm so happy for Billy. Those guys like Billy and Randy and Goldie, those guys care. They do. I saw it firsthand. I was the studio host for the Panthers in 2009 and 2010. I forget about that sometimes. What I did for the Miami Heat for 13 years, I did for the Panthers for 2 years. I forget about that sometimes. That's how I became very friendly with guys like Moeller and guys like Billy Lindsay. And they care. They love the organization. And Billy, he couldn't get through it. He was very caught up in it last night, which is so great. You know what I feel bad for? I feel bad for our friend Jessica Blaylock. She's out there in Denver, Colorado doing the Marlins game, and the Panthers, she probably had it on her phone while she's on the field level working the Marlins game. I feel bad she couldn't be there, you know? But I'm so happy for everybody that's involved. We're going to get Billy on the show coming up in a little bit here. They did it, man. Not only did they do it, they gave us a forever moment. It wasn't I'd have been happy. They went up 2-0 early. I'd have been happy winning that game 5-1, you know? But now that we know what happened, oh my God, winning it the way they did is the best. The best. They gave us a forever moment. I can't believe it. Not only did they get back to the Stanley Cup Final, not only have they made this, it might be the most improbable run, although the Heat may be doing the exact same thing, but they gave us the most improbable run in the history of South Florida sports. Like you can say, oh, what about the Marlins in 2003? Okay, but here's the thing. The Marlins, for the entire second half of that season, they were the best team in baseball. We didn't have that expectation going into the year. They started 16-26, and then they fired the manager and brought in Jack McKeon. But the second half of that year, the Marlins were the best team in baseball. This Panther team was 17th in the National Hockey League in points. So if you go by the top 16, although we know it's 8 in the conference, they would have been out. They wouldn't have made the postseason. They got in the second to last day because the Pittsburgh Penguins threw up all over themselves. It's the most improbable run to a championship round we have ever seen. And at least if the Miami Heat do the same thing tonight, please God, please Hashem, we've always known what the Heat are capable of. They were in Game 7 of the East Finals last year. So not only do the Panthers get back to the Stanley Cup Final after 27 years, they do it in the most thrilling of fashion and in front of the Panther fan who deserved it so hard. That building must have been on fire last night. We no longer only reference 1996. We now also have 2023. We no longer only reference Tom Fitzgerald's goal in the third period from the blue line in Game 7 in Pittsburgh to put the Panthers up 3-1. We reference Matthew Tkachuk with 4.3 seconds left to send the Panthers to the Stanley Cup Final and sweep the Carolina Hurricanes. For the first time ever in that building, the Panthers had winning handshakes on home ice. And for the first time in 27 years, going back to the Eastern semis against Philadelphia and Miami Arena, the Panthers had winning handshakes on home ice. we now have 2023. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right. Here's also a really cool thing about my show. All of the sponsors on ZASLOW Show 2.0, they're all fans of the local teams. Water Cleanup of Florida. If you have a water leak in your house and you don't know where it's coming from, call or text Water Cleanup of Florida, 954-900-8635. My guys, the Greensteins, their family friends, they've been at the Panther games. You know they're super pumped. They have over 60 years combined experience. The team at Water Cleanup of Florida is prepared to handle all types of leak detection issues 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. They're fully licensed, Water Cleanup of Florida, insured, certified, providing the one-stop shopping that all of us busy homeowners and business owners require. No need to bring in other contractors. They're handling the entire project from start to finish, serving the entire Tri-County area, Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach, 954-900-8635, or go to WCUFL.com. You can check out more than 80 5-star reviews on Google. Water Cleanup of Florida, 954-900-8635. Water Cleanup of Florida. We clean up your schmutz. So, let's do a little recap here. Let's relive it, okay? TNT broadcast. And the way the Panthers, they bookended the game. Amazing start, amazing finish, going to the Stanley Cup Finals. 41 seconds into the game, the Panthers get a rush up the ice. Anthony Duclair first hits the post, and then has another opportunity.
Drury on their respective lines. Here's for Hagee, back out. The final shot by Duclair. And now Duclair scores on the second attempt. 41 seconds in.
And we are off and running. Duclair with his third goal of the postseason. The building is on fire. 41 seconds in, the Panthers are up 1-0. A few minutes later, about midway through the first period, the Panthers are on the power play, and the man, Matthew Tkachuk, slides it right under Anderson's penis.
Blocked by Jarvis.
Excellent effort there. Jarvis looked like he was down and out.
Forsling kept it alive. Stick goes flying, puck in front. Score! 2-0. Power play goal, Matthew Tkachuk. His father Keith celebrates.
And now it's like, oh my God, are we going to blow him out? Are we blowing him out? Is that how we're going to celebrate this? 2-1 by the end of the period. Then into the second period, early in the second period, 2-2. The lead completely evaporates. The Hurricanes are back in this game. And look, this series, it's not like Vegas is killing Dallas in the other series. All 4 of these games were close. All 4 of these games were 1-goal games. Like, Rod Brind'Amour, the coach of the Hurricanes, talked about this postgame where history is going to say this was a sweep, but they don't feel like it was a sweep. They were in every game. They were all 1-goal games, and he's 100% right about that. So, late in the second period, you get Ryan Lomberg with an incredible individual effort.
Lomberg keeps the puck alive. Here's Eric Stahl, dropping it back off to White. Lomberg scores!
Kokaniemi takes a run. The puck does not get out. And then the play from Lomberg to Stahl to White. And then Lomberg has a wide open net.
Outstanding effort by Lomberg. The puck's going to slide off the stick of White. He wasn't intending to pass it. He lost it, but he...
Lomberg's first goal of the postseason, a monster, incredible individual effort. 3-2 Panthers now going into the third period. Can the Panthers play the Hurricanes even for 20 minutes to get to the Stanley Cup Finals? And with 3 minutes left, just over 3 minutes left, right before you know they're going to pull the goalie, Hurricanes tie the game. We were so close to the madness of the goalie being pulled and trying to clinch the Eastern Conference Championship. So then with, what are we talking, just over a minute left, a minute 9, the Hurricanes take a tripping penalty, which, hey, good on the referee. A lot of times that late in this type of game, they will let that shit go. But a penalty is a penalty, right? So they called a penalty. The Panthers are on the power play. They already scored a power play goal earlier in the game. Their power play has looked good so far tonight. And you get the greatest moment in the history of the Florida Panthers.
Now Reinhardt with it. Down to 10 seconds. That may have hit the post. Going back out in front of it is Kachuk. He scores!
And around the net.
Unbelievable, this Matthew Tkachuk. After Game 5, when the Panthers won in Boston, they cut the series lead to 3-2, and Matthew Tkachuk in the dressing room says, guys, remember this, boys, remember this room? We're going to be right back here for 7. Well, what is he doing in Game 6? Scores 2 goals, and then in Game 7, overtime winner, and then this series, overtime winner in Game 1, and then in Game 4, he gets 2 goals, including the clincher to send the Panthers to the Stanley Cup Finals. I think you also had the game winner, the overtime winner in Game 2, right? I believe so. I mean, it's by far the greatest trade in Florida Panthers history, and it's right at the top, greatest trade in South Florida sports history. This guy, and we talked about this, Greg Wyshynski, ESPN senior NHL writer, told us the other day, it's not just how great a player he is. The Panthers have never had a guy like this. And I told you when the season started, I'm like, oh, you guys are going to love this guy. Just his entire attitude, his enthusiasm. He's also American-born. I mean, most of the great players in this league are not American-born. And he's American-born. Like, you're going to love this Matthew Tkachuk. And he gave us the greatest moment in Panther history and an all-time forever moment. Oh my God. First sweep in Florida Panthers history. Oh, we were jumping around the ZASLOW Mansion family room. We're hugging. And then, of course, they go to the review. You see, I'm like, okay, all right. They're going to review here. There was definitely some action in front of the net. There was a lot of traffic. And by the way, the patience on Matthew Tkachuk to hold on to the puck. Most guys get their stick on it. There's not a lot of time of, oh my God, this is my only chance. And they just put it on goal. The patience to get to the spot he wanted and get that wide open net. That's so hard. So we're watching the review and it's like, oh, there's so little there. I felt good about it the whole time. I felt the balls it would have taken for the referee to take that goal away. I felt good about it the whole time. And then the fact that he came out so quick, you knew we were good. Because if they're going to overturn that, they're going to take some time. Came out so quick, you know we're good. Good goal. Everyone's going crazy. Oh, man. Incredible. Incredible night. Can we get back-to-back nights? Can we get it second? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. What a night. I was very emotional last night. We waited 27 years for this again. 27 years. And by the way, we will never reference Sergei Bobrovsky's contract ever again. It doesn't matter what he does or doesn't do for the rest of his time with the Panthers. The contract has been completely validated. Completely validated. No matter what happens the rest of this season, no matter what happens the final 3 years of his deal, the contract is completely validated. That's done. That's over with. Team of Destiny, I don't know. It's going to be Vegas. They could clinch tonight. That's going to be tough as hell. But the Panthers disposed of the 3 teams with the 3 most points in the entire National Hockey League. Boston, Toronto, Carolina. So they're not going to be scared of whoever they play, even if it's the team that had the most points in the Western Conference, the Vegas Knights. What a night. So happy for everybody. What an incredible, incredible night.